So, oh, probably wait a minute, huh? That'll be better, I bet. What's cracking, Naptown? So, in April of 1923, King Oliver's Creole Jazz Band, they get on a train in Chicago. They ride for 5 hours to Richmond, Indiana to record. And these are the first recordings of Louis Armstrong. They're also the first recordings of jazz composed by jazz musicians. They're also the first recordings of real jazz musicians playing real jazz. Up to that point, it was stiff white jazz. They would adapt pop songs to jazz, and they'd record it and sell it, you know? So, that April session is super famous. And the recordings made that day become the hottest selling records in the country. I mean, jazz records, of course. So, Jeanette Records is like, bring them back. Let's get a recording session this fall. In October, they come back, and they're gonna record again. And the same day in October, 75,000 people watch a KKK parade walk down Main Street in Richmond. And that just leads us to this really odd dichotomy about Richmond. Richmond is Quaker country. And also Klan country. And the Quakers in the previous century, in fact, that whole county, especially Fountain City, was really famous for being a part of the Underground Railroad. And at the same time, they've got these terrorists walking down the street and people clapping, you know? It's a heck of a thing to wrap your head around. And so, what I had to ask myself was, why was the jazz coming out of Chicago? Like, why were these New Orleans artists in Chicago in the first place? And what brought them there, you know? And for the record, King Oliver's Creole Jazz Band, they were too tight. They'd been playing together for like 2 years. Like, the legend is that high school kids would go hang out by the door and just hope somebody opened the door to the bar where they were playing so they could hear it louder. You know what I mean? Like, they already had a wacky reputation. And the Jeanette Records in Richmond, Indiana, was like, well, we gotta record them.
So I know you're thinking to yourself, they played jazz because they liked jazz. Pull your head out. But it's not really like that. This was a pre-radio world. Music was regional. That's why the Delta Blues is so specific to the Delta, and the music from the Appalachians is so specific to the Appalachians. And the blues out of Texas is so unique, and the Piedmont blues out of Virginia is its own thing. And that's why jazz comes from New Orleans. So the diversity of styles was wide before the radio hit America. By 1935 or so, radio's much more available, and the influences on the artists are nationwide instead of a few hundred miles wide. And so jazz comes from New Orleans. But in 1917, Storyville is destroyed. In Storyville, we destroyed our neighbor's economy, and we framed it as morality. Anyway, artists had to move north to Chicago to have any audience to play to. We closed down all the places that our neighbors could play. The Mississippi River and trains made Chicago an easy choice. And that's how Louis Armstrong recorded his first tracks in Indiana. And Louis is nice. Do yourself a favor, put on some Louis Armstrong for 30 seconds. And listen to how nice he is. He's just so nice.